starts now.
Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here for First Alert 6 streaming on this Thursday morning. I'm Cerise Cole.
It's Hallows Eve, everybody. I'm Erin Hartley, joined by meteorologist Jarrett Lansford and the Senior Chief Rusty Lord. First alert to a major fog impact this morning.
Yeah, it has gotten dense, and it was patchy when we came into work, but now it's just really filled in, and it's hard to find a place that doesn't have fog. It's outside of the far western counties where you see this dense fog advisory in place. Does not include the counties Norfolk, Columbus, York, and in between with the cities there. Everybody in the gray, though, dealing with some pretty dense fog. If you have it, it is dropping visibility less than a mile in many spots. But you can see a couple of towers sticking up above here on the cameras. We can show you something. It's a pretty shallow layer of fog. So the sun's going to rise above it here in the next couple of hours, and it'll start to warm us up, and then that'll burn off because temperatures are at 34 with a dew point of 34. That's how we get the number to have 100% relative humidity, and boom, we're sitting in a cloud. So we got to warm this number up while this number stays the same, and then we'll start to see things improve. But look at this map. Well, that's the fog. Jared will show you the numbers. I said it wrong. So there is a lot of fog around the area. And temperatures are down near 32 to 35 over much of the area. That is the perfect recipe to get some frost in the area, and that's what we're seeing in some spots. So there could be widespread thick frost along with that, and it does look like it's even colder to the west, and that would freeze things up around Wahoo, Fremont, a couple of spots, Missouri Valley down to 32, Plattsmouth at 31, so we're right in that key number. Now, where it's really cold, down in the 20s, there is no fog, so it is tanked, and you got a hard freeze, first one of the season there in our western counties, with many spots in the mid-20s. So all this equates to a day where we have the fog through about 9, 10 o'clock. Model's not doing great with the coverage of it, but that's it right here, and watch how that fades from 9 to 10. Some higher clouds move in. By noon, we take the 30s, warm them into the 40s, and then we get into the 50s. So the coldest spots to the west will actually likely end up being the warmest spots this afternoon because you get more sunshine to start with, and you'll be able to warm a little more. Look at the Iowa side, a little bit cooler. It's going to take a little while for the fog to burn off there. So up into the mid-50s. By 7 o'clock tonight, we're down near 50 degrees. Overnight tonight, 40s turn into 30s. Shouldn't have any fog to start off tomorrow morning, and we settle down into the mid-30s again to a spot where it's likely to have a little bit of frost in some locations, and that's going to be the case every morning through about Sunday morning here before these numbers recover a little bit. So frost possible or likely in several spots all the way through Sunday morning, and then the mornings after that for the first week of November look a little bit better. Let's talk about Halloween. 52 for the high. That's the high. That's about 3, 4 o'clock. Then it starts to cool off. Unfortunately, looks more and more like we're going to have at least a breeze of about 20 to 25 with some of these gusts out of the northwest on Friday. Just enough to add a little bite to the air, especially as the temperatures start to cool off for trick-or-treating. So we're right around 55, 6 o'clock, cooling off gradually into the evening hours. So these 40s may feel closer to 40 degrees or maybe even upper 30s with the wind chill. So that's something I think coat's probably going to be necessary for you whether you have a costume or not. And then we'll warm up to 49 degrees on Saturday with quite a few clouds to fight through on Saturday as well, the way it's looking.
All right, there was a big red in on the Saturday forecast map, so we got to talk about the Huskers game day forecast.
Yeah, it's looking like it's going to be a chilly one. If you have tickets for that, remember it's a night game, 6:30. Yeah. You probably already know that already, but with the clouds clearing out into the evening hours, that's going to allow the temperature to fall off pretty quickly through the 40s. So heads up for that as we head into Saturday evening. It's likely to be a chilly one down in Lincoln. And then we'll start to climb each and every afternoon beyond that. 57 on Sunday, 63 on Monday, and a lot of 60s for highs next week, morning lows near 40. That is a great first week of November. And I talked about it last week, how the first half of November was probably going to be fairly warm, and that's the way it's looking. Average highs are in the 50s that time of year, and we're getting a lot of 60s on the way.
That looks really good, Rusty.
Okay.
All right.
Let's get an update this morning. Everybody up. Okay, we're getting an update this morning on traffic. Of course, with the fog that Rusty was just mentioning, that could make it pretty tough for drivers.
Yeah, it's hard to see out there with that fog, and so that's a hazard you have to contend with as you're heading out just about no matter where you are. And this camera, you have to kind of squint to see that there's some vehicles moving through. This is I-80 in that camera that we show all the time with the slowdowns right around Q. You can't tell how slow it is by looking at the camera because the fog is so thick. I can tell you though, if you look really closely, it's not moving very well. So we'll check in on that a little bit more in just a bit, but let's show you that map that Rusty tried to show you with the numbers here. And you can see that they're low numbers. You start getting quarter mile, down near zero as we have for much of the metro. It's really difficult to navigate around those kind of conditions. So you want to use some caution. Make sure you leave plenty of time and definitely have those headlights on as you're heading out and about. We zoom out a little bit more, and much of Iowa is in the same boat as the metro. As you get further to the west, there is that area as you get close to Columbus, Norfolk, where you're not looking at the fog being in place. You're colder, so you're probably going to need a little more time to warm your vehicle up. So keep that in mind if you're in those areas. I've been watching this area around 108th and Maple. There's been some consistent slowing around here, especially northbound. I'm seeing that in place. So watch for that if you're going to be traveling in that area. But this is showing you where the temperatures kind of sit in the metro with an estimate of some of the road temperatures. You can see as we get further to the west and to the north, you start getting more of those near 32, 31. That's where you want to watch for some frost that may try to form, and that's especially true as you get on some of those overpasses and bridges because you can get the air going at it from the bottom and the top, and that makes it a little easier for those surfaces to cool. So keep an eye out for that as you are heading out and about. Some of our slowdowns, there's what I was talking about. It's really backed up into the 680 interchange there. Highway 370, you're going westbound right around 48th or so, also showing some slow signs. And it's been consistently slow right around 204th and Pawnee all morning long. I've been seeing that as a spot where things are slow. Perhaps an impact of the fog, perhaps something else happening in that area. But it's a morning to just be ready for some not less than ideal travel conditions.
Seriously. All right. Keep us updated, Jared. Thank you. Well, the Omaha Police Department wants your help finding the man you see right there on your screen. His name is Ricardo Kirk, and we're told by police the 32-year-old has a felony arrest warrant out in connection to a shooting. Police say that shooting happened yesterday near 54th and Boyd. OPD also says Kirk is a person of interest in yesterday's homicide investigation near North 35th and Davenport. If you know anything about either incident, you are asked to call Omaha Police. New details into the case of a man charged in a shooting in Omaha.
This happened months after former President Joe Biden gave the man clemency. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Omaha says they're now charging 31-year-old Kyrie Holbert for being a felon in possession of a gun. Officers booked Holbert after police allege he shot a man near 13th and Howard this month. An unsealed complaint alleges the same gun used in that shooting is a match for the gun used in other violent gun offenses. The complaint goes on to allege that Holbert tried to dispose of this gun, only to have law enforcement find it. Holbert was previously sentenced to 20 years in federal prison. He only served just 7 after getting out this past January when President Biden commuted his sentence. In a statement, the U.S. Attorney's Office, Leslie Wood, says in part that Holbert should have never been prematurely released from federal prison, and Omaha is safer with him back in custody.
All right, Erin, thank you. So we're talking about one of our favorite topics here at the Safety Desk, sleep.
Oh, yeah.
There's some new information, though. Apparently, if you sleep with a night light, you need to listen to what Maria's got to say.
There is a new study that suggests your heart could actually thank you for turning out the lights completely at night when you go to bed. So researchers found that people exposed to bright lights while sleeping, maybe similar to having those overhead lights on, had a 56% higher risk of heart failure, actually. They were also more likely to develop coronary artery disease and have a higher risk of having a stroke. Scientists say those nighttime lights can interfere with your body's circadian rhythm. Of course, that's the internal clock and controls when we wake up and our sleep cycles. The light can also block your brain's production of melatonin. So experts recommend limiting your screen time, also dimming or turning off those lights a few hours, not even just maybe 30 minutes like a lot of people might do before bed, a few hours. So they also suggest using blackout curtains or sleep masks. Now, I will say, for me, I take naps during the day sometimes. So I have that light coming in. So maybe something to consider for the future.
I do like a nice dark room when I go to bed, though.
Oh, yeah, it helps.
All right. Thank you, Maria. We'll be right back.
All right, welcome back. Time now 7:14 on this Hallows Eve Eve. It is Thursday. Taking a bird's eye view overlooking 144th and West Dodge, and we've told you all about this morning. It is foggy outside. Heads up for drivers.
Yeah, it's about the only camera you can see anything that's at ground level. Yeah. Otherwise, you got to have one that's way above. So as you head out, that's the way it's looking for kids as they get going to the bus stop this morning, and everybody else just trying to get going. Tougher to get going on a morning like this with the fog around, and it kind of creates a dreary start. But the drop-off forecast this morning, 33 to 34, fog and frost. It's a morning like that where you might have a little frost to scrape, and I think that's the Blackstone camera. Yeah, we don't know. Jacket, warm hat, take those. There's a lot of moisture hanging in the air, and we have a chilly start. Look what's on the map up around O'Neill. This has been holding on a little bit. There's a little flurry activity, O'Neill to Norfolk to Sioux City. We'll watch this. I don't think it's going to be anything for us to worry about. This is a little batch of clouds that's going to roll over top the fog as we go through the course of the mid to late morning hours. But the dense fog advisory is in place through 10 a.m. That's when we should really start to see a noticeable improvement during the 9 o'clock hour and beyond. Current temperatures 32 to 35. Plenty cold enough to get some frost in the area, especially ground level. So be mindful of that. Jarrett's been talking about how there could be a couple of slick spots out there. 20s to the west where we don't have fog. It's been a hard freeze of a morning in our western counties. Columbus, Norfolk, down to York. You're definitely done with the growing season there. First alert forecast showing that 144th and Dodge Cam and Union Bank and Trust building. Notice we climbed to 56 today. Pretty good day. We got to 51 yesterday with that afternoon sunshine. Today should be able to go a little bit better. Then the Almost Friday forecast shows Friday, Halloween, Saturday, 49, 57 on Sunday. Sunday continues to look like the warmest day of the weekend. Halloween's got some breezy conditions, maybe a couple of sprinkles late, probably not a big deal. Each and every morning, though, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we start off in this same range here with frost likely, just kind of flirting with a freeze in some spots. And then up near 40 for a morning low much of next week. So that 10-day forecast kind of shows you these couple of days here that are a little bit chillier. Talk a little bit more about the sprinkles trying to drop in late on Friday. I don't think it's anything that's going to impact Halloween. This is 7 o'clock. Some clouds around, maybe a couple of sprinkles from those. But overall, most of us should stay dry. It's just kind of breezy and chilly. Temperatures in the 40s, wind trying to make it feel a little bit cooler. And then quite a few clouds to fight through on Saturday as well, at least in the morning hours. But then as we go through the course of the afternoon and evening, those fade away. And that's important because it does look like that'll clear out just in time for game time in Lincoln. And overall, that means it's going to get chilly.
Ooh, my goodness. All right. We know how to bundle up. We're in Nebraska. All right. Let's talk November because things actually start to look up. It's weird, but looking better in November than October.
Yeah, beyond this weekend here, you can start to see the warming trend, and that's a lot of 60s for highs that first week of November, morning lows in the 40s, and you go beyond that. And I talked about this last week. It does look like the first week of November is going to be warmer than average over a good chunk of the country, all the way into the middle of the month. We'll see what the end of the month holds. That's important because that has Thanksgiving, but right now I think we can get through the first 2 weeks without any major issues and a lot of mild air for you to enjoy that fall weather and clean up the leaves that the wind knocked off the last couple of days.
Yeah. Okay, in the meantime, kind of back to the fog topic. Of course, it's pretty foggy outside, making it a little bit tough for drivers.
Yeah, there's going to be just the next several hours, so be something to deal with. So let's play a game. Can you name where this camera is? Here's the location. No, we don't have time for that. You can check these out on our website though. But anyway, you can see that there's quite a bit of fog throughout the area. No matter where you're looking or attempting to look, you are looking at some visibility issues. This is what it looks like 144th and West Dodge, and you can just kind of see that fog draped over the view. It's damp. We have to watch some of these bridges, especially as we get further to the west where we have that temperature closer to 32. May get a couple of slick spots. Thankfully, I haven't heard of any issues so far, but that doesn't mean they won't be there over the next couple of hours. There's the latest visibility. You can see it's just a problem throughout the metro. Even beyond that, we're looking at plenty of fog to deal with. This doesn't clear up for a couple more hours, so if you're going to be out on the roads, you're going to have to contend with that, and we are starting to get some delays. This is one that we always talk about, I-80, but it is all the way up into the 680 interchange as you're heading westbound. Now, scheduled tonight, we are seeing a traffic shift here that would open up a lane, and hopefully that helps to alleviate some of the problems that we're seeing there daily on westbound I-80. time will tell with that. But for this morning, it is a problem. And also southbound, as you're going from the North Freeway all the way back past Hamilton, very slow as you make your way toward that 480 interchange. So that ramp quite backed up as well. We're getting our delays. We're really starting to ramp up on eastbound Dodge around 168th, 180th. And then we have the JFK being a little bit slow. No crash reports as of yet, but I will keep a close eye on this. If you are traveling north of 680, I'm seeing a little bit more signs of some more consistent slowing. That could be being a little bit more out in the open. You have a harder time seeing with that visibility, so be ready for that if you're going to be driving in those areas. We'll keep an eye on it, and of course, first alert if we start seeing those develop.
All right, sure appreciate it, Jarrett. Thank you. Well, we are still working to learn more to tell us about a disturbing discovery at Lake Zorinsky. Authorities found and recovered a body. We first brought you this story as breaking news on the First Alert 6 app. We are told that yesterday afternoon, a woman called Omaha police saying she saw something in the water. When first responders arrived, they pulled the body out of the water near the boat docks. Right now, we don't know their identity or the circumstances of what happened. On a local response to the pause on SNAP benefits, Mayor John Ewing announced a citywide food drive.
This will help those who rely on SNAP to put food on the table. The drive will last for about a week. Residents are asked to donate non-perishable food and cash. There are 12 collection sites across the metro from Florence all the way to Elkhorn, ready to take those donations. We have a map showing where all those sites are, as well as the specific times the sites are open, up on our website at firstalert6.com.
All right, still ahead this morning, a must-see Halloween display.
Plus, find out what has been dubbed the word of the year when we come back.
Welcome back, everybody. Dictionary.com is out with its word of the year.
It's a slang phrase.
I didn't get to say it.
I know. It's called 6'7". It's used by the Gen Alpha age group. So 6'7" has ties to the rapper Skrilla's song Doot Doot. Some say it means so-so, maybe this, maybe that. Dictionary.com's word of the year is meant to put a spotlight on social trends and global events that define the year. Do you think 6'7" defines the year?
Definitely defines October. It's everywhere.
But also, I don't agree with the definition because I don't think there is a definition.
No, it doesn't mean anything.
People just do the hand, say it, and that's
it means nothing, so it means everything.
It's just an internet thing. It's just like a TikTok
My
thing.
son says it all the time. So we hear it around my house all the time.
I just heard about it 2 weeks ago, so I don't have a
Now
comment,
you're in the
so.
know, Russ.
You're in the know. All right, meantime, Halloween is around the corner and spooky yard decorations are grabbing the spotlight.
Now, in Wisconsin, a massive skeleton display has taken over one man's lawn for the past last quarter century. But don't think this party is dead. No, display creator Jim Zamzo just wanted to get the fun started early and is already celebrating America's 250th birthday coming up next year.
As we celebrate our soon-to-be 250th anniversary, let's remember what our founding fathers said. Every person has the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of hauntiness.
Oh, okay, that's new. That part is new. So all these skeletons really embody the spirit of red, white, and boo. I like it. It's different. Yeah. Different take on it.
Whenever I see these big displays, it always pops into my head, where do you put it for the other 11?
Yeah.
Storage
Like
unit.
the storage units?
Our neighbor has a system. Like he goes all out every single holiday.
A lot of skeletons.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us. We're going to get ready for our update in today's show. You can watch it here on streaming or over the air.
Have a great start to your Thursday.
Live from WOWT, First Alert 6 starts now.
Good Thursday morning to you. It is 7:26. I'm Cerise Cole.
And I'm Erin Hartley. A first alert to a lot of fog this morning. Here's Jared to see how the roads are doing.
Yeah, it's going to be there for your morning drive here as it's only gotten a little bit thicker over the last hour or so, and it kind of doesn't matter where you're driving in the metro. You could see that we have issues with the visibility, and this is what it looks like about 144th and West Dodge. You can see things checking up in that area. So it's going to be something to keep an eye out for. Also keep an eye out, especially when you get towards some of those bridges, could get a little frosty. Temperatures getting into the low to mid 30s. So that's something else I'm watching for. Delays building on the northbound JFK. We've got a couple of other spots that are showing some slow travel as well. No reports of crashes as of yet, but we'll keep an eye on it through the morning. Rusty.
A dense fog advisory in place through 10 o'clock as we wait on that sun to rise and get up above the fog this morning. And you can see it covers a good portion of our viewing area. You go west and there's no fog, but it's incredibly cold down in the 20s there. In the metro, 30 to 34, so just cold enough to get a little frost forming in some places. And you can see the gray here at 144th and Dodge, and trying to find a camera that shows something other than that is tough right now. 56 for the high today. 9-10 o'clock is about when we start to see it start to thin out a little bit, and then it should get better and better pretty quickly after that. 56 for the high today. So you go pick up the kids from school. Quite a bit of sunshine, about 5 degrees warmer than yesterday. Light west wind, not too bad, with a high in the mid 50s. It gets a little colder Halloween and into the weekend. Aaron?
Omaha Police Department wants your help in finding this man. 32-year-old Ricardo Kirk has a felony arrest warrant out in connection to a shooting and a homicide. Police say the shooting happened yesterday near 54th and Boyd, while the homicide took place near 35th and Davenport. If you know anything about this incident or you know where he might be, you're asked to call police.
Well, it is 7:28. We're back with another update for you in about 25 minutes. We'll see you then.